Hello, welcome to day 16 of our Mindful December. I'm back on the beach and it's not windy, so I'm super excited to move the location to here. And today we have another big topic because it's going to be about self-love. And I think we all know, everyone is telling us that we have to love ourselves first before we can love others, right? But I gotta say that actually fully accepting myself and loving myself unconditionally, it's one of the hardest things for me. So this is like a spoiler alert that if you're hoping that by the end of the video you might have a golden recipe on a platter for self-love, you're gonna be disappointed because I don't have that golden recipe. Yeah, I don't even think there is one, and yeah, as I said, for me this is a hard thing to just fully unconditionally love myself all the time. And well, I look at it as more like, life is more like a journey for me of self-growth. So all of that is just like this learning curve and opportunity to find ways to accept myself more, and I've got some insights that I'm happy to share with you today. So there are a few things that I think that can definitely improve our quality of life in the term of just how to find ways to accept ourselves just as we are. So it's not like black and white, either this or that. And the first thing that I wanted to mention is actually I was listening the other day a podcast with Sri Kumar Rao, and he said a story that is just making the point that I'm trying to make. So I'm gonna just kind of copy part of that story because it just really is gonna illustrate what I'm trying to say perfectly. So there was a boy, a 16-year-old, who just got his driving permit, and there was a party that he really wanted to drive to. So he was asking his mom to let him drive her car, and obviously the mom at the beginning was reluctant. No, just go as usual to the party with your friends by bus or something. And then he was really insisting. So at the end the mom said, okay, but make sure that you behave, obviously you don't drink, be a good boy. And what the teenager did, he got drunk with his friends and then drove the car and got into an accident and got injured badly. So the mom rushed to the hospital, and she was waiting outside the operating room while the boy was getting a surgery. So the mom, obviously, she was just horrified, not knowing whether she's going to see her son ever again. And then her phone called. It was her best friend. She just found out about the accident, and she told that mom, what kind of mom are you? How did you let the boy drive the car? You're not a mom, you're a murderer. Now, you might thinking that's a really harsh thing to say, and especially coming from her best friend. Who would say such a thing, right? That's our initial reaction. And what if I told you that it actually, those horrible words, it wasn't that friend was telling to the mom, it was actually the mom telling herself in her mind. That sounds more plausible, right? I mean, imagine yourself in that situation. Would you be saying possibly something like that to yourself? And now the question is, maybe catch yourself when you did something, that you're embarrassed or you regret what you did or what you said or you didn't do, and how many times we're actually being so harsh on ourselves as well and using, horrible words to describe what we have done. And we do it to ourselves all the time, and that's the thing, that things that we're saying to ourselves, we would never ever tell to someone close to us, like a best friend or a family member. So why on earth we're saying that to ourselves if we wouldn't even say it to someone else? And if we only said that to ourselves once, that would be already bad enough. But the thing is that we we don't stop at saying that once and then we just move on with our lives. We kept on repeating that high criticism over and over and over. And again, we are like a broken record when it comes to that. We just keep on going and going and rehearsing in our heads like how stupid or embarrassing and da-da-da-da-da, how horrible it is that we did or said or stuff like that. So the first thing we can do through obviously mindfulness, because in order to do it we need to be aware of the thoughts that come in and out of our minds. And once you notice that you are being so harsh on yourself, try to reverse the roles, that horrible thing that happened, it didn't actually happen to you but to your best friend, and then start to talk to yourself as if it happened to your friend. What would you say? Maybe there would be some kind of compassion and empathy and kindness. So try to approach yourself as if you're talking to your best friend, and see how that you can dial down that criticism to make it a little bit, just less harsh on yourself, because you don't deserve to be talked down like that. So, just give yourself a break about that, all right? So that's that story that I felt like it just brings it to the point, just be easier on yourself. And another thing that, from my own experience, that you might feel like you're relating to that, is that if you notice that you're being, in general in life, hard on yourself, and sometimes when we notice that being hard on ourselves, then we're desperately trying not to. And when we have this tendency to being like super demanding on ourselves, we basically are working hard to not be so hard on ourselves, and that is just creating this vicious circle of constantly being hard on yourself, even for being hard on yourself. So once you notice this, like just going on and on about just being super demanding on yourself, just give yourself a break. You're doing great. Even like pat yourself on your shoulder, like thumbs up, you're doing great. Just let it go, instead of just constantly trying to love yourself more and accept yourself more. It's okay. Just give yourself a break. And on that note, that acceptance, that can be a hard one. And I'm just speaking from my own experience, that there are some things sometimes that I just don't have that space within me to accept. And I'm sure you've all been there. There are just some things, either our beliefs, like something about ourselves, our insecurities, or maybe something about our looks, that we just can't accept, even though everyone is telling us, just accept yourself just as you are. And we might be doing it on many levels, but there are just like some little things that we just cannot accept about ourselves. And on that note, I'm going to use this as like a vulnerability moment, and will share with you that for the past 8 months I have been just suffering from acne on my face, and I've tried many things and nothing makes it go away. And I tried really hard. I've been working really hard on accepting it just as it is, because nothing seems to be working, so I don't know what else to do. So if I can't change it, all the gurus will tell you to just accept the situation, and I just can't. I can't accept it, and there are days that I look in the mirror and I just can't look at myself, and that I know that it's a low moment, that is a very low self-loving moment, but this is just how it is. So like through sharing that, you might be thinking like, oh, why you don't see anything, because actually most of the time I feel so insecure about it that I actually cover it up. But since we're talking about it and this is a vulnerability moment, let's have a look. I don't know if the light will be enough, but here it is, my beautiful acne. So as I said, I try, but I just can't accept it. And that's the thing, that once we reach this point that there is no space within to accept a certain feeling or looks or something in your life, what we can do, that we can just maybe accept that we're not accepting it at that moment. Maybe we're not ready. Maybe we need to grow in order to accept it. So instead of just beating yourself up for not finding that space within in your heart to accept it, accept that you don't accept it. And that might bring some form of relief, that it's not just all that we have to, be just full of love all the time, constantly. And that might take some pressure off, just saying, okay, I accept that I'm not feeling okay about that, and, move on for from that for now, and maybe in the future you will have that, that moment of self-growth that you will be ready to just say, hey, I'm done with it. Maybe one day I will look in the mirror with this acne, like a few years later I will be like, okay, I'm a 36-year-old woman with an acne of a teenage girl, and it's okay. But for now, I'm just accepting the fact that I cannot accept it. And another thing that we can do to really help ourselves is just finding the space to appreciate your own growth. Just think about all the things that you have already accomplished in your life, or maybe even write down the things that you like about yourself. And I'm sure that once you go creative, there would be a huge list of the things that you like about yourself, about your personality, about who you are, your job, your skills, about something about your looks. That the list can go on and on about the things that you like about yourself. And maybe think about the people that are around you, the loved ones, all the things that you have done. You must be doing something right in your life. So instead of focusing on what you're missing or lacking or what you haven't accomplished, focus on what you have already done, because that is tangible. You can do all the kinds of visualizations about what you want and how you think about yourself, but that might be abstract. And what you have accomplished, what it is in your life right now or was already, this is something that is, you can feel it and you can connect to that. And that can actually significantly shift your day or your perspective about your life and how you see yourself. And when it comes to writing down the list of the things that you like about yourself, this is just a reminder that it cannot just be analyzed and accepted through the mind. All of that have to be felt, like gratitude or loving kindness. All of that we have to feel. Otherwise, those words are just empty and there is no point in it. So if you're writing that list, just really feel it. Appreciate yourself for all the things that you are already so great at. And that could really, give you just a moment of self-acceptance, of that moment of self-love. And, maybe it's not a full-time, full-on, unconditional love, but those moments are incredible. And that's how we get there, from self-loathing all the time to, those moments of okay, I'm actually pretty amazing and that feels good. So just a reminder, treat yourself as if you were treating your best friend. That could be your motto. That could be your strategy for life, and it could potentially really change the way you treat yourself and others as well through that compassion and kindness. And it all starts within. There is something about it. So instead of looking at someplace else around, we might just go within and find all of the things that we're looking for inside. Thank you so much for listening, and have a beautiful day. I'll see you tomorrow.